Today, we're jumping right into the brilliant branding playbook of none other than Ryan Serhant. We're going to break down his powerful three-step strategy for building a personal brand that doesn't just get you noticed, it makes you impossible to ignore.
I mean, think about it. This is probably the single biggest challenge for any professional today. You could be absolutely amazing at what you do, but if nobody knows who you are, does it even count? How do you cut through all that static and actually make an impact?
Well, the guy we're learning from today knows a thing or two about standing out. Ryan Serhant started as just one face in a sea of 80,000. That's right, 80,000 real estate agents in New York City. Now, he's a global media powerhouse. His own story is pretty much the ultimate proof that this stuff really works.
Let's be real. The world we work in is just crowded. It's not enough to just be good at your job anymore. If you really want to get ahead, you have to build a brand that makes people stop and pay attention. And here's the absolute core of Serhant's entire philosophy. This is not, and I repeat, not about putting on a fake persona. It's about figuring out what makes you, well, you, and then turning up the volume on it. Your authenticity? That's your superpower.
So, where do we start? The very first step is all about looking inward. You know, you can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation. All the great brands, they start from a place of really knowing who they are.
And that foundation, it all starts with what's called a brand vision. Now, this isn't some fluffy corporate mission statement you stick on a wall and forget about. Think of it more like your North Star, a clear, powerful guide that points you exactly where you want to go and keeps you on track. And the best part? Serhant gives us this beautifully simple formula to figure it out. It's your unique viewpoint on the world, how you see things, plus your core values, the things you won't compromise on. Put those two together, and bam, you've got a brand vision that actually means something.
Okay, this next idea, it is a total game changer. Serhant calls it your and. It's that magic spot where your professional role intersects with your personal passions. For him, a former actor, it was real estate agent and media expert. That little and let him turn a boring apartment tour into a full-blown production, and it completely changed the industry.
And just look at the power of this in action. On the one hand, you're just another person doing a job. But when you add your and, you become unforgettable. You're not just a stylist, you're the stylist who's also an expert in vintage fashion history. See the difference? That's what makes you the one they call.
So, how do you find your and? It's actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, just do an interest audit. Write down everything you're passionate about outside of your 9 to 5. Next, look for the patterns, the common threads that tie them together. And finally, put those pieces together to reveal your own unique superpower.
Okay, so you've done the deep work, you've found your core. Now it's time for the fun part, giving it a personality and a look. We're moving from the inside stuff to how you actually show up in the world.
Serhant has this clever ESP method to help build a brand personality that really connects. You emphasize your brand with really specific, descriptive words. You speak directly to the exact person you want to work with, and you perfect your voice so that you sound consistent everywhere, which builds a ton of trust.
Now listen up, because this is a classic mistake so many people make. Your logo, your colors, your website, all that stuff isn't about your favorite color or what you think looks cool. It's a strategic choice designed to communicate your brand's personality to the right people. Always think foundation first, aesthetic second.
And this shows the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got a planned identity. Everything works together, it's professional, it tells a clear story. On the other side, well, it's an accidental identity. It's just a random jumble of stuff that creates confusion and makes you look amateur. So you've got your core, you've built your identity. The final, crucial phase is amplification. It's time to take this amazing brand you've built and, actually get it in front of people.
Serhant calls the social media platforms the 5 families. Now, the key here is not to be everywhere at once. No way. The strategy is to be deliberate. Maybe you use LinkedIn to show off your expertise, but you use Instagram to show off your brand's personality, and you go where your audience actually hangs out. Once you've picked your platforms, this right here is the golden rule. Consistency is everything. It's not about being perfect all the time, it's just about showing up again and again. It's that steady drumbeat that builds trust and keeps you at the top of people's minds.
But hey, being consistent doesn't mean you have to be a boring robot. Real authenticity, the kind that makes people truly connect with you, comes from being human. And that means you share the big wins, sure, but you also share the struggles, the tough lessons. People connect with realness, not perfection.
Okay, so we've walked through the core, the identity, and how to amplify it. Now let's pull all these threads together and talk about how this actually shapes your future.
And here's an important dose of reality. While this framework is incredibly powerful, it's not a magic spell. Building a brand that lasts also means you have to be adaptable. You got to pay attention to what's happening in the market and understand that some things are just out of your control. Think of this as your roadmap, not a guarantee of no traffic.
So let's do a super quick recap of the journey. It really boils down to these 3 massive steps. First, you find your core. That's your vision and your special and. Second, you craft your identity, your personality, and your look. And third, you amplify your voice, sharing your story consistently and authentically.
And that brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. After all of this, what's that unique thing that makes you stand out? What is the and that's going to make your brand completely unforgettable?